Hey everyone, thanks as always for tuning in. Really interesting piece to share with you guys today. We're going to take a look at the Eschaton by Elijah Isham and We Knives. So this is a prototype, just a heads up, the actual production run will not be coming out until the end of 2017, so it's going to be a while. But Elijah was kind enough to send me this one early to do a video and share with you guys. If you guys are going to Blade, which is in just a couple days now, he will have the prototypes on him. I actually need to overnight him the knives back tomorrow. So we're doing some quick videos tonight on at least two really cool knives from him. So this is the Eschaton, and it is a really interesting piece. So kind of a hybrid of the Decepticon, maybe a little bit of the ZT 999 in there. An exercise in design, undoubtedly. So we'll go through the specs, overall impressions and details. Again, I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. I think the video in HD is going to do most of the information sharing here today. So collaboration with We Knives. And what's really cool about this piece off the bat is that this is actually a piece that we decided to pick up from his design portfolio. So my assumption was, when I heard they were doing this a couple months back, that he had approached We and either begged or pleaded or threatened in some way to get this knife made, but no, they picked it up, they wanted to do it, and I think that's pretty ballsy. I mean, We Knives is really trying to flex their design muscle, their production muscle, and show everyone what they're really capable of, and this is a knife that does just that. So let's jump. Actually, I'm just going to show it to you guys first. That's what you really want. So obviously titanium and carbon fiber here. And this one is a partially integral or solid piece construction here with the back spacer. There's Elijah's logo as well as the Eschaton name on the back. Let's look at the lock side. And one difference before I forget, you guys do see that this particular one uses their proprietary star screws. They will be switching it out to Torx by the time that these hit hit the street at the end of 2017. So if you've really wanted them to have Torx bits, that will certainly be a welcome change for many of you. Inset liner lock, but a very cool execution of design. So it is a flipper. We do have a thumb hole here on both sides. Let me show you guys the action real quick. So there's the action with the flipper. Let's do the middle finger flick, and let's do a thumb deployment. So very usable. Again, I'm going to use the word interesting, unique, or cool throughout this video. It's just whether you love or you hate this design, this is a video that you're going to click on simply because of the uniqueness of it. As a designer, I have no doubt that Elijah was elated that someone would pick up one of his more complex or interesting designs. So let's go into the specs now that I've shown you guys in fairly good detail the knife close up here. So we'll grab the Para 2 here for a size comparison. Okay, right about like so. Alright, so the blade length on this one is about 4 inches solid. Handle length is 4.9. Overall is 8.8 inches. Does weigh in at 3.0 ounces, so extremely lightweight for a blade of this size. But as you can see, the design itself is heavily skeletonized. M390 blade steel, fantastic choice. And of course the materials are carbon fiber and titanium. So let's show you guys the thickness here. So relatively on par with the Para 2. So we'll get that out of the way. Overall impressions. I like this knife. And a lot of you guys are going to want me to say that it's super impractical or that it's terrible for EDC, but I mean, in reality, this is not the knife for someone who's looking for that one perfect knife to carry every day. I mean, if that's really what your intent is, you know, pick up a Para 2. Now, after you have the Para 2 and you're looking for something really unique, a conversation piece, just something that kind of blows your mind, you know, that would be this knife right here for you. So is it usable? Could you pocket every day? Absolutely. I mean, at 3.0 ounces and a relatively slim form factor, I mean, why not, you know? Is it going to be that perfect full flat grind and cutting performance? No. But a lot of guys are carrying compound grinds that are way less useful than what you see here. I mean, the blade stock is relatively thin to begin with. You know, you do have a slight transition here between what feels like two flat grinds. But, you know, it's not unusable by any means. In fact, the ergonomics on it are really, really good. As you guys can see, that very deep finger choil there. Well, that thing locks in your hand incredibly well. Show you guys how it looks. Gets thinner towards the distal end. So, I mean, it just locks the hand. Really does. It does a great job. Again, reverse grip, not that anyone would ever use it. Less comfortable. It's designed for, you know, kind of the hammer grip approach here. So anyways, I like it. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting. I love that a designer had something that he envisioned created. It's got that very biomechanical feel. So yeah, let's talk about a little more about the details about how this one came about and so forth. I already told you guys that we picked it up of their own volition, which was surprising. As you guys can see, the pivot here is actually captured in between the carbon fiber, so that should make it quite easy to assemble and disassemble. And then again, with the change to the Torx bits or the Torx screws, that should make it even easier to service. We does provide their tools with all of their knives, which is great with the proprietary hardware. The only downfall might be that, you know, the tool is about yay big, and so it's really hard to get a significant amount of torque on it, whereas, you know, your standard Torx driver is, you know, probably relatively close to a full-size screwdriver size. So anyhow, okay, so we talked about overall impressions. Again, not your perfect EDC knife, but it's not impractical as compared to many other knives out there. Although it does look like it would be just from kind of the crazy design elements, the heavy skeletonizing, the removal of material. We said that the blade was actually the hardest piece to execute on this knife. It required some really sophisticated grinders as well as a skilled technician, and then of course it did require some handwork to you know, make sure everything was finished properly on the knife. So I mean, the way that it transitioned into the handle and into the, you know, the back, there's not a backspace, or the back of the knife here. Obviously the carbon fiber is bolted straight onto the integral piece of titanium there. It does have a very usable short pocket clip that's integrated perfectly into the design. Quick look, you might even miss it. So, and then thankfully the liner lock here, the subset liner lock, is steel, so it's a steel on steel contact, which I greatly prefer. So flipper tab, it's really short, right? So this isn't going to be a flipper tab where you get, you know, the meat of your finger on it. This is one where you kind of use the tip of your finger, and it works really well. It does take a learning curve to get used to this flipper tab. Again, the emphasis is on, you know, form over function for the flipper tab, but the opening holes here work really, really well. So one thing that they did here, they created this step essentially on the thumb hole, so that actually grabs your finger really well and makes it much, much easier to open. Really smooth on the ceramic bearings, of course. So very, again, it's unique. It's just such a cool conversational piece. I'm really grateful that Elijah let me share this with you guys. What is very, very early here. So again, end of 2017. If you know, if his other collabs are any indication, they usually take longer than you think they will. He's done collabs with Kaiser, obviously with We Knives, with Browse Blades. He's doing some custom collabs with Rob Carter and Jeff Vandermeulen, and there are probably a few others I'm forgetting at this point. So, yeah. Okay. As I mentioned, the ergos are really spot on. I mean, I don't really know what else to tell you guys about this one. It's just a really interesting design. So the Eschaton did derive its name. Back in 2014, Elijah created a series called the Odyssey series, I believe. And, you know, biomechanical theme. This was the last one of that run. And so that's why it came up with the name the Eschaton, because it was the last design of that series. So he does have another design with We Knives that's much less complex that I'll be sharing with you guys, or hopefully filming in a couple minutes here. But anyways, I really hope you guys enjoyed taking a look at this particular one. Elijah would be someone certainly to follow on Instagram, just to kind of see what new designs he's coming up with, or what his work looks like, or what other company he's convinced to pick up his designs and really try their hand at something this crazy. I mean, again, for this is kind of a halo piece up there with the Decepticon and the 999, and really showing kind of their machining prowess here. So cool collaboration, cool people, great companies behind it. I'm definitely going to be thinking about it, you know, as we get closer to the end of the year. I think this would be a cool knife as a conversational piece, definitely, especially with non-knife friends. And it carries some of that, I don't know, kind of some of that fantasy or complex design that people maybe attribute knife collectors to, you know, when they don't know anything about knives. But it's not, you know, a poorly made knife with, you know, inferior materials. It kind of takes that fantasy element that people really are drawn to, but it's a very, very well-made knife. So anyways, hopefully you guys really enjoyed taking a look at this video. I have really enjoyed having this one just for a couple days. I took it to a get-together locally, and it was the knife that everyone wanted to see. So there's certainly some interest. And these were legit knife people too, you know, hardcore collectors like myself. So again, it's just, I don't know, it draws you to it whether you love it or hate it. So we'll go ahead and leave it there. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks, Elijah, for letting me borrow it, and more videos to come. Take care.